In a world where noise often drowns out nuance, real intelligence usually stays hidden in plain sight. Machiavelli, a master of observing power, believed that true brilliance wasn't about how much you knew, but how you used that knowledge, who you revealed it to, and how you applied it to influence outcomes. So, how can you tell if you're smarter than most? Not by grades, not by job titles, but by how you see, how you adapt, and how you anticipate what others miss. Here are the first two signs of intelligence through a Machiavellian lens: cold, strategic, and undeniably sharp. Sign 1. You remain silent when others rush to speak. The wise man does at once what the fool does at last. Most people can't sit with silence. The moment a pause arrives, they rush to fill it with chatter, opinions, and emotions. But not you. Choosing silence isn't shyness, it's deliberate control. Here's why it matters. Intelligent people know power lives in restraint. The less you speak, the more others assume intelligence. The more you listen, the more information you gather, information others freely reveal. For you, speech is a weapon, not a reflex. Speaking at the wrong time risks exposing your thoughts, so instead, you let others reveal theirs. This is the art of strategic invisibility. You observe, you wait, and you allow others to underestimate you. In their overconfidence, they expose themselves. To Machiavelli, silence was never weakness, it was camouflage. And the wiser you are, the more you understand. Not everything should be said. In fact, most things shouldn't. What this reveals about your mind: you value information over attention. You can delay gratification, the foundation of strategic thinking. You're comfortable with uncertainty, while others rush to fill the unknown. Sign 2. You instinctively detect people's true motives. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few understand what you really are. Most people accept words at face value. You don't. If someone claims to help just because, you already know there's a condition attached. If someone says they're upset about one thing, you sense it's rooted in something deeper. This isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. And it's rare. You read intentions, not just words. You scan constantly, micro-expressions, tone changes, delays, false enthusiasm. You don't get distracted by the mask, you watch the eyes behind it. Charm, flattery, guilt trips. These tools bounce off you. Manipulators dislike you because what works on most people doesn't work on you. You think long-term in relationships, while others get caught up too quickly. You wait and watch. People reveal themselves not in one moment, but in patterns they repeat without noticing. Machiavelli called this the highest form of intelligence, not raw intellect, but psychological clarity. You know people are rarely fully honest. Spotting the lie behind the smile makes you difficult, if not impossible, to deceive. What this reveals about your mind: you trust patterns more than promises. You don't project your own morality onto others. Past betrayals sharpened your perception. That pain became insight. Now pause here. These two signs alone make you a formidable presence in any group. Not because you dominate, but because you don't need to. You already see through the game, and when you see clearly, you can't be controlled. But here's the paradox. Being smarter than most doesn't always feel good. It often means more solitude, more silence, fewer illusions, but also fewer genuine connections. Most people avoid mirrors, and in many ways, you've become one. Checkpoint summary. Do these apply to you? You prefer silence to noise because you study actions more than words. You don't take people at face value, you look for the motive beneath. If so, you're already operating at a level most never reach, but this is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll explore how you use curiosity as a tool, why boredom rarely touches you, and the subtle Machiavellian strategy of never needing to prove your intelligence. Ready to go deeper into the mind that sees what others don't? True intelligence is rarely loud. It doesn't chase applause or crave validation. It works quietly, strategically, and with precision. In Machiavelli's world, intelligence wasn't abstract, it was survival. To be smart was to see the hidden game, and to act on it before others even knew they were players. So if you recognize yourself in these two signs, the ability to stay silent and the skill to read motives, you're already operating at a rare level. But remember, the twist is yet to come. The smarter you are, the less visible your intelligence becomes. Let's continue. Sign 3. You use curiosity as a tool, not just a pastime. Most people settle for appearances. Average minds stop questioning once they feel secure. Smarter ones never stop. But for you, curiosity isn't casual. It's intentional. You're not only interested in how things function, but why they work, who benefits, and how the system could be turned to your advantage. In practice, this looks like more than following trends. You analyze and reverse engineer them. Instead of just consuming content, you study how influence grows. Instead of focusing only on what a movement says, you examine how it spreads. You care about systems, not just outcomes. You ask questions like, who wrote the rules? Who gains if I lose? Who profits when I follow the default path? This kind of curiosity keeps you unpredictable. While most people lock into rigid thinking by their mid-20s, you continue to adapt, learn, unlearn, and evolve. That flexibility makes you difficult to outmaneuver. Machiavelli would value this trait. He argued that to lead, one must understand the machinery of power better than the architects themselves. Your sharp, persistent curiosity is the blade that cuts through illusion. What it reveals about your mind. You know that information equals leverage. You study structures of control, not just surface-level opinions. You naturally connect dots others don't even notice. Sign 4. You don't get bored. You can engage yourself. Men are driven by two impulses, love or fear. Now let's consider one of the most overlooked signs of intelligence. You're rarely bored. Why? Because your mind is active, even in silence. While others need constant stimulation, apps, games, gossip, or noise, you can sit alone in a room and create entire worlds in thought. You replay conversations, test strategies, build ideas, and connect memories. You reflect on what others overlook. This isn't just imagination, it's independence of thought. Here's what that means. You can focus for long stretches without distraction, not out of discipline, but because your mind is naturally curious. You create mental frameworks for understanding life. While most recall scattered facts, you construct systems, hierarchies, and timelines, and store them as tools. You're resistant to the world's endless demand for noise because you don't need external input to feel alive. You are your own algorithm. Machiavelli, who studied power obsessively in solitude, would see this as a great strength. Most people remain trapped by distraction, but if you can find clarity in stillness, you're already far ahead. What it reveals about your mind. You can entertain complex thought without fatigue. You are mentally and emotionally self-sufficient. Your stillness is powerful because that's when your mind sharpens itself. Sign 5. You don't feel the need to prove you're smart. It is much safer to be feared than loved. If one cannot be both, here's the paradox. The most intelligent people rarely boast about it. They don't flash credentials, correct others for attention, or quote books to impress. Why? Because they understand a core truth. The moment you feel the need to prove intelligence, you've already given away power. You know that revealing too much makes you predictable. That's why sharp minds don't broadcast their abilities. They let others underestimate them, then act quietly to gain the upper hand. For you, effectiveness matters more than applause. You don't need recognition, you need results. You've learned that being right in arguments rarely shifts power, but influence always does. Machiavelli himself valued appearing less capable than you were, a tactic used by Caesar, Napoleon, and even modern leaders. It's not about pretending to be weak, it's about strategic concealment. What it reveals about your mind. You've moved past the ego trap of needing validation. You use humility as a tool, not from morality, but from calculation. You measure intelligence by outcomes, not by how impressive you sound. Now we're at the core of Machiavellian intelligence. Being smarter than most isn't about knowing more answers. It's about asking sharper questions, observing more deeply, and having the patience to hide your strengths until the right moment. Checkpoint summary. The silent weapons of a sharper mind. You use curiosity deliberately, not as entertainment. You don't just learn, you dissect. You never feel boredom because your mind is always analyzing, creating, and connecting. You don't need to prove your intelligence. Silence grants you more power than arguments ever could. The last two signs are the most powerful. They reveal why you can influence others without effort and why you are often misunderstood, envied, or even quietly feared. If you're still here, chances are you already sense it. You're not like most people. Your intelligence doesn't demand attention. It observes, listens, and then acts with precision. Machiavelli never measured intelligence by academics or status. For him, intelligence was about control over yourself, over others, and over outcomes. The sharpest minds were not the ones who dazzled with brilliance, but those who quietly made the world adapt to them. You've already seen how silence, curiosity, and restraint carry power. Now, let's examine the final two signs, the ones that make you a master of human nature, whether you realize it or not. Sign 6. You can make people believe it was their idea. The wise man does not expose himself needlessly to danger, but when compelled, he is resolute. This is the mark of a dangerous mind. You don't need to win debates or force agreement. Instead, you allow others to reach the very conclusion you intended. This isn't mere charm or persuasion, it's Machiavellian suggestion. Here's how it works. You don't impose thoughts, you plant them. Instead of saying someone is wrong, you ask questions that lead them to rethink their position. Instead of announcing your plan, you shape the situation so they believe it was theirs. You let people feel in control as long as their control aligns with your strategy. You present ideas in ways that fit their ego, not yours. You know people rarely change through facts. They change when their identity is engaged. So you don't attack, you redirect. This is one of the highest forms of social intelligence. Not manipulation for its own sake, but influence without resistance. Machiavelli observed that people hate being persuaded, but they love being right. If you can make someone believe your idea was their realization, you gain influence that feels natural and lasting. What it reveals about your mind, you don't seek credit, only outcomes. You've moved past the need to be right. You've turned humility into a tool of control. Sign 7. You don't react, you calculate. A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when doing so goes against his interests. This is the coldest and final sign of deep intelligence. You don't react impulsively. You don't lash out. Even when insulted, hurt, or provoked, you hold back. You watch, absorb, and then respond strategically. Why is this rare? Because most people are ruled by emotional momentum. Someone insults them, they snap. Someone disagrees, they argue. Someone betrays them, they break. But not you. You've trained yourself, or life trained you to act as a strategist, not a victim. Here's what it looks like. You create space between stimulus and response. When someone tries to provoke you, you don't give them the satisfaction of a reaction. You leave them uncertain, unsure if they even reached you. That uncertainty is its own weapon. You approach conflict with patience. If wronged, you don't respond immediately. You wait until the timing serves you best. Then you act decisively. For you, outcomes matter more than emotions. You'd rather win than vent. You'd rather change the game than complain about the rules. That makes you exceptionally difficult to defeat. Machiavelli believed emotions were luxuries the powerful could not afford, and you, through experience or discipline, have come to the same conclusion. Your intelligence doesn't just process the present, it anticipates the future, staying unreadable in the moment to maintain control. What it reveals about your mind: you govern your own emotions. You don't need the world to be fair. You only need to understand it. You've replaced emotional reactions with strategic leverage. Now let's reflect. Many think intelligence is about IQ, logic puzzles, or clever opinions. Machiavelli would have dismissed that. To him and to you, true intelligence is seeing without being seen, guiding without forcing, and winning without showing your hunger to win. That's why most people never recognize your mind until it's too late. You've now walked through all 7 signs. Let's recap. You stay silent while others talk, because you're gathering information. You see through masks to uncover real motives. You use curiosity as a weapon, not a pastime. You never feel boredom. Your mind keeps itself engaged. You don't need to prove intelligence. You let results speak. You allow others to believe it was their idea, while you guide the outcome. You don't react emotionally. You calculate and respond with precision. You never react. You calculate. If these signs resonate, you're not just intelligent, you're strategically intelligent. And in a Machiavellian world, that is the only intelligence that endures. But there's one final truth you need to hear, something Machiavelli himself would share only with a trusted student. Being smarter than others comes with a cost. If you've recognized yourself in these 7 signs, you already stand apart. But Machiavelli would leave you with a harsh warning. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. In other words, your intelligence means little if the world cannot see it, accept it, or survive it. Being smarter than most is not always a blessing. It is also a burden, a danger, a hidden curse. Because the world is not built for highly intelligent people. It is built to manage them. Unless you learn to navigate this, your insight will become isolation, and your potential will remain untapped, feared, or misunderstood. So, what do you do with this rare mind? First, accept being misunderstood. This is the first price of intelligence. You'll say things people don't grasp, and they'll call you arrogant. You'll warn of dangers they can't see, and they'll label you paranoid. You'll think 10 steps ahead, and they'll accuse you of overanalyzing. The result is loneliness. And some days it will feel unfair, like punishment for seeing clearly. But Machiavelli would remind you, the first way to judge a ruler's intelligence is to look at those around him. In other words, loneliness is not failure, it's a filter. If you're surrounded by people who resist growth, it's because you operate on a different level. It isn't your task to carry them, it's your task to find those who can move with you. So don't dilute your intelligence for acceptance. Let misunderstanding be part of your camouflage. Second, build a network, not a crowd. Average minds want approval. Smarter minds want to be understood. Strategic minds want allies. If you're sharper than most, your greatest risk is wasting energy on people who drain you, slow you down, or demand endless explanations. Machiavelli would tell you, keep your circle small but strong. Don't seek applause, seek those who sharpen you. Allow people to challenge your thinking without dimming your light. Use everyone. Trust few. Be kind, but not exposed. Be generous, but not transparent. You're not building friendships, you're building influence. Protect your mind like a fortress. It's rare, and rare things attract envy. Never let others' confusion make you doubt your clarity. Your intelligence is not decoration, it's a weapon. And like any weapon, it must be protected and used with precision. Third, train emotional control. This may be the most important step. Many intelligent people fail not because they lacked insight, but because they lacked discipline. They let frustration break their image. They let passion ruin patience. They let truth overpower timing. Remember, men judge more by what they see than by what they feel. Everyone notices appearances. Few understand reality. You don't always need to be calm. You only need to appear calm. You don't need to be friendly. You just need to appear approachable. In the real world, being right is not enough. You must also be trusted, liked, or at least respected. And that requires emotional strategy. Here's how to start. Practice non-reactivity. Let others argue, shout, or reveal weakness. You'll win by staying still. Use emotions as a mask, not a mirror. Show people what they need to see, not what you actually feel. Delay gratification like a strategist. You don't need to prove intelligence immediately. Sometimes the smartest move is to wait until others walk directly into your plan. Fourth, turn your intelligence into leverage. Knowledge alone is not power. Applied knowledge is. You've already shown you're smarter than most. But the next step is to convert that intelligence into influence. Turn what you know into assets. If you understand psychology, use it to guide people. If you understand systems, build your own. If you notice patterns, use them to predict outcomes and profit. Play multiple games at once. Most people think in straight lines. You don't. So build income, alliances, and reputation simultaneously, and let others wonder how you manage it. Never reveal your full capacity. If people see everything, they'll try to control it. Keep parts hidden. Only show what benefits you. Let mystery work on your behalf. Machiavelli believed true power doesn't come from what you own, but from what others believe you are capable of. So let them misjudge you. Let them underestimate. Let them forget until it's too late. From one rare mind to another. You are not strange for feeling different. You are not unkind for thinking clearly. You are not broken for being misunderstood. You are one of the few who can move through the world watching, learning, and guiding without needing applause, permission, or a crown. Here's the last Machiavellian truth. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. Therefore, one must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. You've already proven yourself the fox. Now it's time to become the lion. Use your intelligence not just to survive, but to shape the world around you. Because when rare minds stay silent for too long, the world is left to be ruled by fools who only appear wise, and we both know that ends in chaos. So play a different game and win it quietly, without ever raising your voice.